Hi, everyone. I wanted to just run through a couple of quick word problems with you that you would use systems of equations to solve. Okay, this is a very common thing that we're seeing on the SAT quite a bit is these types of word problems. And my biggest piece of advice I can give you is define your variables. Take a minute to define your variables at the beginning. Sometimes they're defined in the problem for you, but it makes setting up the equation so much easier. So I'm going to demonstrate that right here. So this first example says, blah, 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 theater sold 900 tickets. Here's the cost of all the tickets. Here's the total cost. I would ignore all of that stuff in my first read through. Okay, the first time you read a problem, I would jump down to the end and ask yourself, what is it that I'm trying to find? Because you want to set your variables up to answer that question for you. So you want to know how many, okay, that's going to be important, of each type of ticket. So I'm going to set this up where I say I'm going to let F represent the number of floor tickets. And I'm going to let, what was my other one? B. So I'm going to let B represent my number of balcony tickets. And it's important that I specify that it's the number of tickets, okay? Because there's going to be some situations where it's not the number of tickets, it's the cost of the ticket, or it's the number of people, or, there's lots of different things that these variables could represent. So you want to make sure you're setting up your variables to answer your question, okay? And then from there, you should be able to translate the sentences in the problem into equations, okay? Now, I realize the SAT is a time test, so you may not have the time to write this out this way, but you want to at least do it mentally, okay? You want to keep this in mind that this is what I'm using X to represent, or maybe jot off to the side or highlight within the problem. This is my X value, okay? So now I'm going to go back to the beginning of the problem. A theater sold 900 tickets. I'm going to stop right there at that piece of information. 900 tickets. I have floor tickets, I have balcony tickets, and I know the total has to be 900. So the first equation I'm writing is floor plus balcony equals 900. Okay, that's my first equation. Okay, now I'm going to start dealing with the cost. So floor seats are $12 each. So if I have F floor tickets and each one costs $12, then this represents how much money I'm making off the floor tickets. Okay? And then I've got balcony tickets, which are $10 each. Okay, and that's how much money I'm making off the balcony tickets. So if I add together the money that I'm making on the floor tickets and the money that I'm making on the balcony tickets, it should be my total amount of money, which is this here, $97.80. So the biggest mistake I see with problems like this one are people trying to cram all of their information into one equation. Okay, you've got one equation here that's dealing with the number of tickets and one equation that's dealing with money. And remember, money plus money should equal money. So that's how you can make sure you've got all the pieces together. From here, we're just going to solve it. And this one, I would probably choose to use elimination for. So we can eliminate the F or the B. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to go for the B. So I'm going to multiply by negative 10. So I'm going to have negative 10F minus 10B equals negative 9,000. Okay. And then I'm going to add together going up and down. So 12 plus negative 10 gives me 2F. My B's cancel out, which is what I wanted to have happen. And when I add together 9780 and negative 9,000, I get 780. Divide by 2, and I get F equals, I believe that's 390. Okay? So that means I have 390 floor tickets that I sold. Okay? Now we need to go back and figure out how many balcony tickets that means we sold. Okay? Well, this is pretty easy because we know floor and balcony together make 900. So I'm going to write it out kind of formally here. You probably would say, I would just subtract from 900, but I'll show you why that is. Really what I'm doing is plugging the 390 in for F. And then subtracting it from the other side, right? So when I subtract from the other side, let's see, I think I get 510. And so then that would be 510 balcony tickets. Okay, and these ones we don't typically put back as a coordinate because a coordinate doesn't really make sense when you're talking about number of tickets, but these are just your two answers. Do be on the lookout. Some of those word problems, they only ask you for one or the other. So once you've solved for one, you don't have to continue solving for the other one. All right, let's try another similar example here. And once again, I'm skipping over all of this stuff to the end, and it says, what is the price of a senior citizen ticket and a student ticket? Okay, so this time I want the price of each ticket. So let's see. I'll use C to represent the price of a senior citizen ticket. And I'll use S to represent the price of a student ticket. Okay, so that's my first step. Now I read back from the beginning. Okay, the school that Lisa goes to is selling tickets to the annual talent show. That's nice. Doesn't help me mathematically. First day of ticket sales, we sell 4 senior citizen tickets and 5 student tickets for a total of $102. So 4 senior citizen tickets, that would be 4 times C. So if I sell 4 tickets and each one costs C dollars, this represents how much money I'm making off those senior citizens. Okay? And then I'm going to sell 5 student tickets, so that would be this. And so this is the money I'm making from senior citizens. This is how much I'm making from students. And so my total sales was $102. And then we're going to go to the next day. So the next day we have $126 with 7 senior citizen tickets and 5 student tickets. Okay, and now I'm going to solve. So with this one, this is a little bit different than up here. Up here, each equation kind of did something different. Up here, one equation added up to the total number, and then the other equation added up to the total cost. Both of these are dealing with cost, but it's 2 different days. Okay, so just real quickly to solve this one actually is pretty nice because these are both 5s. So I would just make this equation all negative. I didn't mean to write that line there yet. So this would be negative 7C, negative 5S, and negative 126. Okay? I'm going to add together. So 4 plus negative 7 is negative 3. My S's cancel, and then 102 minus 126 would be negative 24. So the cost of my senior citizen ticket would be $8. Okay? And then I could plug that in to go back and find the student ticket, but I don't know that you necessarily need to see that part of it. Really, it was the setting up of the equations that would be the hard part. Okay, so obviously I can't possibly go over every type of problem you would ever see in terms of a word problem, but hopefully these strategies will be helpful. And I think the defining the variables and then reading your sentence and translating it into an equation is the best way to go. Okay, that's it for this